So statements from me will not add anything here. And when it comes to the Arctic, I think President Trump is right. Other leaders in NATO are right. We need to defend the Arctic. We know that the sea lanes are opening up. We know that China and Russia are increasingly active in the Arctic. There are 8 countries bordering on the Arctic. 7 are a member of NATO. That's Finland and Sweden and Norway and Denmark, Iceland, Canada and the US. And there's only 1 country bordering on the Arctic outside NATO, and that's Russia. And I would argue there is a 9th country, which is China, which is increasingly active in the Arctic region. So President Trump and other leaders are right. We have to do more there. We have to protect the Arctic against Russian and Chinese influence. And that's exactly what NATO ambassadors decided to do in September. We are working on that, making sure that collectively will we defend the Arctic region.
I'm Jeff Abel. Have you been downtown lately? If not, you'd better hurry, because much of it is shutting down. The Sheraton Hotel, a cornerstone here at the Inner Harbor, shut down some 2 weeks ago. Morton Steakhouse, which is also inside the hotel, shut down too. Other businesses like H&M, P.F. Chang's, The Fudgery, all of them once thrived here, have now died here. Even the Cheesecake Factory that's been here at the harbor for
Europeans think this is diplomacy and this will ultimately
this is
work.
Diplomacy with Donald Trump? He's a T-Rex. You mate with him or he devours you.
I'm going to give the floor to you, Evie, on that.
Well, Gavin Newsom is correct. In the predator world, you do mate with the predators or you are their food. I mean, that's just obvious, right? Look, Gavin Newsom, I know he's out in California, but I think he believes he's an actor out there in Hollywood on the red carpet. He's not. President Trump is going to position America as America first, as it should be, in Davos, Switzerland, and across the world. That's just the reality, and we should be. As it relates to Greenland, again, even John Fetterman in his own party basically says that we should ideally take Greenland or purchase Greenland. We can do this civilly, if you will, diplomatically. But if Greenland is going to stand in the way of the United States protecting America first and this hemisphere, then Greenland will become a part of the United States. Donald Trump makes no qualms about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. The media told us Trump was reckless. They told us Greenland was a joke. They told us America first was dangerous. Well, folks, today reality just punched that narrative in the face. After a high-level meeting in Davos with Mark Rutte, President Trump announced he's formed the framework of a future deal involving Greenland and the entire Arctic region, folks. Not just for America's benefit, but for NATO as a whole. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you all as you watch this podcast. It's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Good evening, everyone.
And Shelly E. All right.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, there you go. All right, we have a lot to cover tonight. Before we light this fire, do your part, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We're live on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast, folks. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. So, as you all saw at the top of the show, President Trump is in Davos. Before we get you ladies in on this, want to just take a look at this latest interview President Trump did on Greenland. I believe this is clip 9.
Well, we have a concept of a deal. I think it's going to be a very good deal for the United States, also for them. And we're going to work together on something having to do with the Arctic as a whole, but also Greenland, and it has to do with the security, great security, strong security, and other things.
The market, 600 points, getting back a lot of some of the nervousness we had in the last couple of days. The tariffs are off. Nothing happens on February 1st.
No, we took that off because it looks like we have pretty much a concept of a deal.
a deal of ownership, a deal?
Well, it's a little bit complex, but we'll explain it down the line. But the Secretary General of NATO and I and some other people were talking, and it's the kind of a deal that I wanted to be able to make.
Where does Denmark, did they weigh in on what they want, what they would agree to?
Well, I assume they did, because he very much represents, he's a strong leader. Mark, you know Mark Rutte. And he, I assume he's been speaking to them. He's been speaking to all of them.
Are mineral rights involved? Is ownership involved? Did the Golden Dome sway people?
I don't want to say yet, but
the Golden Dome was very compelling today when you talked about that.
Yeah, the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in the Golden Dome, and they're going to be involved in mineral rights, and so are we.
It's not specific enough to know at this point how long this lasts, whether it's
forever.
Forever.
It'll be forever.
For Greenland at this point.
Yeah. Forever.
That's staggering.
That's better than a 99.
This is what, 2 hours after.
It's better than the Obama deal with the famous Iran nuclear deal with a 9-year deal. No, this is forever. This is a long term.
Forever, ever, ever. All right. Shelley, what are your thoughts? You were on Newsmax this morning already talking about this, and then we've heard this news come out this afternoon. What are your thoughts?
I think Greenland is on its way to becoming a U.S. territory. And again, the rest of the world, whatever is the case. But if we're going to protect not just America, United States, continental states, but this hemisphere, then we have a place, and I guess I'm going to say maybe an obligation to secure Greenland as part of that strategy. It's all under the national security strategy, and it's all under making America first.
Yeah. Nicole, do you really think we are going to actually secure Greenland?
I think we're going to get more than Greenland. So just having Greenland is not enough. We need the entirety of the Arctic Circle. So when you take a look at the map, Greenland sits there, but beyond Greenland is the Arctic Circle, right? And beyond that is Russia and Asia, right? So when you have China doing military exercises and so-called scientific exploration in Greenland unchecked, there's a problem. And this is why the push is to have Greenland. It's not because one day he woke up and decided that, we needed new ski territory. That was not the case. What he's seeing, and what we've all seen on the international stage, is that Russia has made sure that no one else has access to that water but them. They want defined shipping routes. And then China comes in and says, well, hey, we'd like to participate. And it's the same thing that we see in South America. This is Russia and China encroaching on the Western Hemisphere. And as Americans, we just can't allow it. Now, is there some rewards for this? Absolutely. They've got some rare minerals that not only that we could use, but some of these other NATO countries could use. And having strategic bases in that area not only helps the United States, but it will protect a very weak and aging Europe.
Yeah. This is a power move, and it's a power move that the press didn't want to talk about or doesn't want to talk about. So Trump suspended planned tariffs on European nations in exchange for cooperations. That's leverage, that's strategy, that's leadership. And so while these global elites were sipping champagne at the World Economic Forum, Trump's been busy. He's been busy reshaping the geopolitical map, locking down, as you mentioned, Nicole, energy, shipping routes, and national security. This is a big deal. Take a look at this image. This is image 2 of NATO and Russia's militarization of the Arctic. Do we have image 2 here, folks? Let me see here. Okay. Let me see. I may not have that. Okay. Yeah. So, there was, if you look at the map that has all of this stuff, it shows their strategic places where, they have all of these things listed. So, sure. I mean, folks, this is a national security issue, correct, ladies?
Absolutely. It's been a national security issue, for millennia at this point. I mean, since the United States. Canada is not helpful. Let's just call it what it is. I don't think they could mount a defense to much of anything, less it's a hockey game. Short of that, they're not helpful to the United States. So if we're going to be attacked as a nation from the north, people would just hop clean over Canada and get right to it. It wouldn't even be an issue. They'd be plow through Canada like it's, paper towels. It's not a big deal. But having, we already have one space center there, but having a strategic and strong military base there, that I'm sure the president convinced NATO that NATO should have a part in that too. And that maybe once they start paying their 2% of their GDP, that they too can participate in this great NATO station that we're going to have there. I think what's going to end up happening is that these other countries are going to see the strategic value of keeping Russia, China, because what they have been doing is they've been sneaking around this world, slinking into people's economies. We know what they did in Panama, trying to block off the Panama Canal. We know what they're doing in South America, what they were trying in Venezuela, what they're doing in Colombia and Cuba. So we do have to defend ourselves, not necessarily because there's a threat in this moment, but threats that we can see in 2 years, 4 years, 10 years. And this is what Donald Trump is doing.
Absolutely.
Look, before I get you in, Shelley, I do want to show the map here. I think we have it here now. All right. So this was something put out by Fox News. And if you all can see, this is the militarization of the Arctic. And Russia is all in red there. You have the blue, I believe, is NATO. But Russia is got a lot of territory there. And of course, NATO, and then the United States is right there. I mean, so this is a major security issue. Shelley, what were you going to say?
Right, absolutely. Again, I mentioned President Trump's the 2025 national security strategy, and in that strategy, which is on WhiteHouse.gov, President Trump and his administration basically says, I'm just going to read one small paragraph. We want to maintain the United States' unrivaled soft power, quote unquote, through which we exercise positive influence throughout the world that furthers our interests. Again, America first, the soft power, and this is in quotes, the soft power that serves America's true national interest is effective only if we believe in our country's inherent greatness and decency. Again, we are securing the Americans, our American, if you will, rights, our safety for the American people in the continent. And again, not just in this hemisphere. If we are going to be the quote unquote the world's police, we certainly are the world's subsidized and financing all around the world, then damn it, we are going to assert our interests first and foremost, and we are not going to apologize for it.
Absolutely. Folks, sound off in the chat. Let us know what you think. Is this a good thing? Do you believe, you agree this is a good thing for us? Or do you have some apprehension about it? Let us know. And if you super chat, we will read that throughout the broadcast. All right. And again, as you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience. And subscribe, folks. We want to grow this community. Also, we have a goal to hit 250,000 subscribers. We can only do it with your help. So hit that like button and subscribe. All right. So moving right along, I mean, this has been an extraordinary period for President Trump. And, we've been kind of, I know I have at least, been a little nervous about the midterms. I honestly have been a little nervous about it. But there's one Iowa voter that was caught on CNN today, and she was basically saying, she's a white liberal housewife. And she says she is sticking with President Trump. She was not supporting him initially, but after all he's done so far in office and during including the closing the border, the immigration enforcement, she's sticking with him. Take a look here. This is clip 3.
There's that saying, Trump was right about everything, and that's kind of how I'm feeling right now.
This breakfast conversation, our 6th visit with Betsy Sarcone, dating back to August 2023. Her shift beyond dramatic. A DeSantis, then a Haley voter, said she would vote for Joe Biden if Trump won the Republican nomination. But she changed her mind.
I think Biden probably changed me more than Trump. I think watching nothing be done, for 4 years about an open border.
Now she gives Trump an A-, loves the immigration crackdown, just closed a big real estate sale, and thinks the economy is picking up. Sarkon laughed at Trump's 2020 election fraud claims when we first met. Another big change.
I'm starting to question the election of 2020, right?
He lost the election in 2020.
I don't know.
He lost the election in 2020.
The suburbs revolted against Trump in his first midterm, and Democrats are banking on it again. But Republicans don't have to worry about Sarkon. She likes Congressman Nunn and loves that her daughters can use a school choice plan.
All right, so Democrats are in full meltdown mode, folks, over this stuff. And as you could see, that CNN pundit, he lost the election in 2020. He lost. So he's like rattled. Nicole, you've got an inside track on all of this. Have you seen any insider polling? What do you think is going to happen? Or what are you seeing as far as the midterms?
I think the midterms are going to surprise a lot of people. I think the moment that the Democrats think they've gained some momentum, someone from the far fringes of their party does something so incredibly stupid that they push people back toward the Republican Party. If you had asked me prior to Sunday if I thought it was going to be close, my answer would have been yes, that we had a lot of work to do. The messaging needs to tighten up. Let's go, let's go. Since Sunday, I've heard from Christians who are Democrats, Christians who are liberals, Christians who are independents, Christians who are gay, straight, and everything else. They're pissed and they don't want anything to do with the Democrats who storm churches.
Mm-hmm.
Is there nothing sacred? So that's what I've heard a lot of over the course of the last few days. The thing about Democrat voters is they like to hold their cards close to their chest until Election Day. And I think what we're going to see is a lot of people who are Christian people who can no longer hold their nose about the killing of babies in the womb. And now you're attacking the church. The Democrats have a religion problem. They have a God problem. It seems like the only God they know is the Islamic God.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only God they value. So that doesn't fly with the American voter. So this is going to be an uphill battle for them. Sunday set them back. And if we can keep them on their back foot, midterms are going to be good to us.
Well, from your mouth to God's ears. Shelley, what are your thoughts on this? Do you feel the same way? Do you feel like conservative Republicans have the momentum, or do you feeling otherwise?
Look, elections, every election we say, this is the most important election of our time. And in reality, it really is, because that is the current election, right? So I'm always a little nervous at election time, midterms, things like that. I'm not going to say I'm not nervous. It's a little unnerving, but I do know, again, if we don't come out to vote, that is the key. Republicans have to come out to vote. When we don't vote, we don't show up, we allow the other side to win with 40% of the people showing up, if you will. So we have to come out. When we come out, we tend to win, and we win big.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to do that. To that point, Shelley, when you think about all of Virginians who are now pulling their hair out because Abigail Spanberger is not wasting any time Maryland in their Virginia. Do you know what I mean? No time at all. And so they're all, trying to catch their breath and trying to figure out what this is going to be. And what it's going to be is what Maryland has tried to be, a little California. And it's happening so fast. They had a bill today that a new representative to their House of Delegates, or Common House, what they call it. And she wants to make sure that nobody, including the federal government, can question nonprofits and NGOs about the people they give money to. Tells me that, the Somali Leering Center is going to have some franchises in Virginia. This is straight up a money grab. And if they pass that, and they've got the votes to do it in both houses, and Spanberger will sign it, good luck. Good luck with federal money coming into Virginia. Trump's not going to allow that. He's not going to allow it, but they're going to push the envelope. And if they pass it in Virginia, watch out. Maryland's right on their heels.
Yeah, I mean, folks, it's like, I understand that there are some conservatives, some Republicans that are not pleased or not super excited about what we are seeing in Congress from Republicans. But what we're seeing on the Democrats, these people are nuts. They are nutty. They've got nuttier. Like we thought under Biden and Kamala, that was nutty, but it's kind of trickled down. and they all have lost their minds from going into. They're doubling down on the nuttiness. From raiding churches with Don Lemon to, as you mentioned, Nicole, in Virginia, another bill that came out today from Virginia Democrats, where they've introduced in this bill mandates for children to be taught inclusive history that includes every marginalized group on the planet. So transgender and queer people. I mean, all this stuff they want baked in the public education school system. And it may even be in private as well if they can. This is the type of stuff we're seeing come down from the Democrat Party, and it's not a fringe. I mean, this is what they are about. Folks,
absolutely.
To come out for midterms, we have to. If you're only voting against, let's say I'm not voting for Republicans. Vote against Democrats. This is what it is. Vote against these nuts, because it's no longer a difference in ideology. This is a difference between sanity and insanity. I mean, am I exaggerating here?
It's the battle between good and evil.
Chaos. Good and evil, sanity, insanity, chaos, and full disorder, or order and chaos. So yes, vote for or against, but we have to come out and vote. Seriously. Again, we're talking here. I know there are some parts in particulars I may criticize President Trump on, but I say I will vote for him again if he was on the ballot. And 9 times out of 10, any Republican, you at least have the chance of having your rights and your liberties, your finances in control, so to speak, versus with the left, who all they want is basically totalitarian and tyranny over you and your lifestyle and your children.
Yeah. And we want to see some of the things like this, uncovering all of this fraud. I mean, just out today, Blaze Media is reporting Justice Department slaps Governor Tim Walz, AG Ellison, and the Minneapolis mayor with subpoenas. So they want to see what's going on with all this fraud. Walz's office and Fry's office confirmed with the local KMSP TV that they have received the subpoenas. And they want to, and the Justice Department is not playing. This is Justice Department investigation sparked by calls for accountability in the face of violence, chaos, and the killing of Renee Good does not seek justice. It is partisan distraction. This is what Walz said. But folks, they want to, they're digging into it. So, there's multiple investigations as far as I know. And with all of this fraud, California allegedly has forced $300 million in frozen money. So California allegedly forced Americans to fund illegal alien Medicaid. So Dr. Oz has recently dropped the hammer. And so he's calling for the return of over $1 billion in federal taxpayer funds that may have been used to cover the health care costs of illegals. I mean, this stuff is popping up all over the place.
Well, you know what it is? I think that, we talk about flooding the zone. Here's the thing that you have to be very delicate about with the American public. The more they hear it, the less sensational it is, right? So when they talk about Renee Good, just as an example, hottest thing since sliced bread for about a month. In 2 months, they won't remember what her name is. Right. It'll be that woman that the ice guy shot, right? This time next year, it'll be a foregone conclusion that it was some woman that did something to an ice guy. American public gets so saturated with fraud, death, destruction, that over time, it really doesn't make sense. So here's what we do as a political party. This is how we get after it. We have a secret weapon when it comes to motivating a particular base. His name is Donald Jaquavius Trump. Okay. He's going to go out and he's going to do some of these big Trump meetups. You're going to see really popular podcasts like Ruthless and people from AFPI. You're going to see them out in the community doing free events to rally the base. Now, what does that mean for the average person, the average Republican who's going to vote a straight R ticket anyway? Nothing much. You can go see your favorite people for free, have a good time. But for people who are Trump only voters, and not necessarily conservatives, and surely not card-carrying Republicans, but they really, really like Trump, this will get them to vote in an election ordinarily they wouldn't care about because he's not on the ballot. So this is one of the ways that we're going to do that. You're also going to get a bevy of text messages from people like me, who I'm sending text messages as I'm sitting here now, right? I want people in Virginia to know that elections have consequences and there's no hiding from what you've done. Oh, you've still got 3.9 years left of this foolishness. This is going to be the headache of all headaches, but I need you to feel the burn. I need you to feel the hurt because you stayed your butt at home when all you had to do was cast a ballot. Exactly. All you had to do is cast a ballot. So, you know, when you got that $50 tax for your ammo, don't come over here to Maryland because we got a $60 tax. What you want? You right behind us. Come on over to the region, have a seat on this broke, poverty-stricken sofa with the rest of us. They don't care about the constituents. What they care about is power and money. And she's showing you, Virginia, her hand. She's just appointed today 2 Qatari lobbyists.
Wow. Well, you know, she's CIA. She's former CIA.
Right. Oh, absolutely. She appointed them to the board of George Mason University.
Wow.
Now tell me that there wasn't some money, you know, exchanging hands there. But there's hope. So Josh Shapiro's book came out, and he talked about in his book the gaffes with the Kamala Harris team and why he wasn't chosen. It's a really interesting read. If you have a moment, you should definitely pick it up and flip through the pages. But it also gives us a look into the Democrat strategy. You know, there are certain groups that they depend on, and they don't care if they court them or not. But there are this new group of brown people who figured out how to steal our money and use it to their advantage. And they're going after them with everything they have. When I tell you folks, brown is the new black, hear me when I say that. You need an example. Little Mogadishu in Minnesota. Brown is the new black. So you're going to have to do something. Make a choice. Either you're with them or you're with us. And that's what this election, these midterms are going to come down to.
Absolutely. What you're talking about is America first.
Absolutely.
Are we America first? And the America first, folks, transcends race. It's America. You're listening to a panel of Black women, okay? And we are sitting here letting you know we are America first. America first is not about racial identity. It's about nationalism. It's about love of this country. And we want a country to look like this, you know, this for our generations to come.
For sure.
But the Democrats, they hate America. It really feels like they hate Americans. Now, they love your identity inside of America because they feel like they can use that. They've weaponized racial identity, and I should say emotionalized it in a way, to prey on the idea of past wrongs. And then people who are still holding on to those past wrongs, they're using that to encourage you and motivate you to vote for them. Okay, it's a fear tactic, it's emotionalization, there's all kinds of things. But I'm here to tell you folks, they don't care about this country. Okay, they really don't. And don't let them tell you or try to say America is racist. This is a racist country. This is another thing that they try to push on us. And unfortunately, there are some Black people that are falling for it. Take a look at, but that when they do that, when they say this is a racist country, they don't care about foundational Black Americans. They're saying this because they want to bring in brown people from all over the world. They're not talking about Black, foundational Black Americans. They want brown people. Okay. And so keep that in mind. But take a look at this next clip. This is Jesse Lee Petersen, and he was interviewing, I believe this is a Mexican American man, and talking about whether or not America is a racist country. This is clip 6.
Do you think America is a racist country?
Yes, it is.
It is.
It's becoming
more.
So
if it's racist, why do they let you people in here?
Racist as far as, especially these last 2-3 years.
Why don't you guys stay there and build your own country? You have enough. The economy is the 6th largest. If you guys stood up and fight in Mexico the way you fight to get them here, then you can make Mexico great again.
Well, because Mexico may be rich, and it has, and like you say,
maybe it is.
It is rich. But then again, when it comes to
the way you fight to break the law and disrespect us, once you get here, why not use that same energy in your country?
Because right now, as it is, as far as wages go for people to work in Mexico, it is very
because
very
you're not
poor.
fighting back there. They have the 6th largest economy. You can fight back and create money.
And people have been fighting back.
No, you guys are here fighting us.
We're not fighting anyone.
he said, no, you guys are here fighting us. Okay. All right, Shelly, what do you think of that clip?
It's an age-old question. Why do you leave the supposed shithole, in many cases, the shitholes that you do, to come here to make America the shithole you just left? It's not going to happen. We're not going to have it. This is why we are sick of it. Our immigration, President Trump, thankfully, our borders are damn near closed. I mean, locked down, clank, clank. They're closed. You need to go back home or wherever country you're from and fix up that country. You're not going to come here. We are no longer allowing you to tear up America. And again, we are not apologizing for it. We are gladly locking our borders. Go and fix up Mexico and any other country. You know why they don't do it though? You know why primarily? Because they know if they did it there, that's it. They would be killed, slaughtered, buried alive, whatever. They don't have the freedom to do so. Their governments are largely tyrannical, totalitarian dictatorships, and they don't have the rights. But they come here and then they abuse what privileges they have and want to make us pay for it.
Yeah. Nicole, what are your thoughts on that clip?
I love the way that Jesse is frankly honest. He's like, look, why don't you go home and do that? And he's right. We talked about it in pretty good detail about Venezuela and why, most Americans, especially conservatives, very excited about Venezuela's president being removed, quote unquote, president being removed. There's something to be said about giving a nation its own chance to right itself. Mm-hmm. And one of the big things that can happen to help Venezuela get itself together is sending its people home. Sending all of its people home. Now, they've been here. They've learned some American things that can help them very much in their nation building. And there's nothing wrong with packing your bags and going back to your nation and starting afresh, especially now that the guy that was terrorizing you is gone. Now, the pushback on that is people say, well, his board is still in place. His people are still in place. Well, yeah. So when we're doing nation building, we don't want to kill everybody off because somebody's got to know how to run the country. Right? We learned that hard lesson in Iraq. We learned that very hard lesson in Afghanistan, that we are bad at nation building because we don't know enough about you to tell you who should be the president of this, the board of that, and that kind of thing. But what we can do is send them back. We're going to send you back all your population. And now you've got workers and engineers and doctors and nurses that have been educated here in the United States. They know what they're doing. Good luck. And we want the best for you. And that's the way that America should be looking at some of these countries, is sending their people back. But the big question, though, KJ, is white guilt. Let's call it what it is. It's a conversation we've needed to have for a very long time. And if white people need to feel assuaged of their guilt, forgiven for their guilt, this is your moment. We forgive you. Move on. Move on. Go on about your life. Go on about your life. And also, please stop helping. Stop helping and move on with your life, especially you affluent white women who think that you're helping when you're really, truly not helping. You're
Absolutely. Not well, I'm not too proud to beg because we need your help with your super chats, folks.
For sure. That part.
So if you have it in your heart to assist us, your super chats go a long way in keeping us online. And whether you're white, black, purple, blue, green, long as your money is green, we take it. Okay. We do have one super chat here from Wanda. Thank you so much. She sent a cash app, $5 cash app. We really appreciate you, Wanda. Thank you, Wanda. So much. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. All right, folks. So again, as you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and subscribe. All right. So moving right along, I want to change gears a little bit here and talk about Minneapolis, particularly our law enforcement folks. Talk about people who have been just getting, I mean, they have been given such a hard time, law enforcement, and particularly ICE agents all across the country, really, but particularly in Minnesota. And they're just there trying to deport and arrest criminal illegals, okay? But these people in Minnesota, these leftists, these nutty leftists are just they're nuts. They're crazy. Take a look at this next clip. This is a group of leftist white women screaming racist names at a black ICE agent. This is clip 4.
Be a race traitor?
See, again, y'all are throwing race into all of this. Nobody's throwing race into it.
You profile people for how they look. You profile people for how they look and how they speak. Without your mask on and without your shitty little Timu getup, your ass would be stopped by ICE and you fucking know it. You guys tried to detain your own person. That's probably because you have the reading level of a fucking 8th grader, my dude. Come on.
Fucking go anywhere. This idiot isn't gonna learn.
Working for the fucking government? Like, you think that this is gonna save you from everything that's going on in this world?
Whether you work for the government,
hey, do you know that you have to work for ICE? Man who is out there racially profiling other people. That's fucking sick. In fucking Germany that I gotta carry my fucking passport with me? You guys gonna make me wear a fucking star like my ancestors? I'm fucking Jewish and Latin American, and I have to deal with this shit. My ancestors were fucking murdered by Nazis, and now you guys are back doing it all over again. Fuck you! Fuck you! You know, I hope you
That's a crazy comparison.
You're a Nazi!
Read a fucking book.
You're fucking Gestapo!
hey.
What did you just say? I can't hear you.
I said, no, the street.
Say it louder.
Can't take you. Founded laws on immigration. Like, it's simple. Like, that's it. Like, we can't argue that.
History of immigration.
We do.
Both. But again, I don't think you know all of the history of the immigration.
Because our country
and what's
doesn't.
happened.
It's not about the history. It's about the laws. It's not about the history. It's about the laws.
Yeah. Let me ask you all something. Are we seeing women become much more masculine lately? I just don't remember women like, and again, I'm not like, little Miss Saint, but I don't recall women being so aggressive in public with like strangers. I mean, you'll get in little arguments with your significant other or whatever, but nothing like this. I mean, do you believe that this is on the rise, or you think it's just social media is allowing us to see this more frequently? Shelley?
I think it's a little bit of both. Let me tell you why. I think, number one, where there is a vacuum, something is going to fill it. And in this case, I think more men are not on the front lines, if you will. I think so. They're filling that gap, number one. Number two, I think it is, a sign of the times. Women don't know. They just have no sense of decorum, if you will, and frankly, the anti-law enforcement rhetoric is on the rise. So it's going to come and it's going to affect, if you will, everybody in every socioeconomic demographic. Not only that, a lot of these women, I would suspect, many of them have been what we would consider upper echelon, if you will, or upper income lifestyles, generally speaking, and they have been largely pampered and this entitled aspect. So they don't really give a damn about those workers, those ICE law enforcement agents, that are enforcement personnel who are helping to keep them safe. They don't. It's almost like Colonel Jessup in A Few Good Men. They spit on the blanket of freedom that's provided to them. I know I paraphrased that, but that's what they're doing. They're basically saying F you and also requiring the blanket of freedom, and then they have the audacity to spit on it. So it's a combination of things to me. And so these women, they're getting more and more loony, if you ask me.
Yeah, Nicole, what are your thoughts on these women before we really get into what's going on with the law enforcement?
Yeah, here's the problem, especially with this particular subset of white women, where there are no consequences. You see them show out. This is a direct result of the United States government's gentle parenting of these so-called peaceful protesters. And I've said this 1,000 times, the rules of engagement have got to change. If you spit on me, you jump in front of my car, you throw a brick, a rock hard piece of ice, whatever you're doing to impede me from doing my job, I'm not going to walk up to your car and talk to you nicely and then let you go home to little Johnny and Dakota and give them, Go-Gurt. We're not doing that. I'm going to put some handcuffs on you and you're taking the long ride to jail, and I'm going to slow walk your paperwork. I'm not going to type it on the computer. I might write it in pencil. You know what I mean? I'm going to do it in block letters. I'm going to make several mistakes. I'm going to require a trip to go buy some whiteout. You're going to sit your ass in that cell until you learn better. And I don't care how much you cry. I don't care how much you say, oh my gosh, little Dakota needs somebody to pick her up from the learning center. Yeah, little Dakota can sit with the Somalis because you're a whole jackass. But until the United States government starts smacking them on the hands, at least at a minimum, we're going to continue to see this. We're going to see these screeching people who are part-time jobbing, getting their little check for trying to do something to get in the way of ICE. We have to get strict. And I'm going to say this, and people are going to, feel some kind of way about it. But if these people, these women who are doing this were held to account, you would not see them there. You would not see them there because nobody wants to be a felon behind this. Nobody wants to sit in jail behind this. But what we've seen is that that's not what we're doing. We didn't lock up, Black folk when they were burning cities down. Then you got the Mexicans out or the Hispanics out in California, trying to raid a federal building and throwing bricks over top of bridges. Nobody got really arrested there. So they feel emboldened. And until we change the rules of engagement, they're going to continue to act out.
Yeah. All right. We have a super chatter here. Butterbean, thank you for your $100 super chat. Butterbean says, "Love you, ladies. Great show as always. Thank you. Got my Shelly shirt on. Shelly shirt on the way. Shelly shirt on the way. Mine on the way too. I think we all have some on the way. Thank you so much, Butterbean, for your $100 super chat. Amen. Thank you for that.
Hey, production, can we see that shirt? Can we see that? I want my money back. Give me my money back shirt."
Just in time for tax time.
Absolutely. It's here. You asked for it and we got it going. And let me tell you, getting this shirt, give me my money back. Yep. All American shirt. American shirt. People are going to stop you in the street and go, where'd you get that shirt? I want to get one of those shirts. This shirt embraces what every single right-thinking American is feeling in this moment. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want to pay another dollar that's going to go into the pockets of some nameless NGO to only end up in a suitcase on its way to Mogadishu. Mm-hmm. I don't want any part of that smoke. I'm a better steward of my money than they are. And this shirt says that. So get your shirt, wear it out loud and proud. Again, I'm telling you, Trump is striking up the comms machine. You're going to see lots and lots of town halls coming. And this is the shirt you need to have on your back, flexing for the rest of them. Either this one or the unapologetically American shirt. Mm-hmm. It comes in a hoodie. Wear this merch. It breeds unity. You'll see people give you the head nod. Yeah, I want my money back too. I definitely want my money back. Or they can just give us the Kenyan resort homes they've bought with our tax dollars. Either way, we'll take it.
All right. Well, so we started this segment talking about law enforcement and the real disrespect we're seeing all over, particularly against our ICE agents. Well, tonight's guest, we have a guest tonight, folks, is Hollywood Henry Morris. He grew up in a crime-ridden part of Fort Lauderdale with alcoholic parents and domestic violence. But instead of turning bad, he developed a deep respect for law enforcement. So through the DARE program, DARE officers and police mentors, he developed this respect. So today, he's the founder of Support Our Shields. So using media to support police, fight anti-cop narratives, and highlight the men and women who protect our communities every day. Let's bring him up, Hollywood Henry Morris. And he's a great friend to the show. How are you tonight?
Hey, ladies. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It is wonderful to be on with you guys. I have been a fan for years, and then to get to meet all of you in person in Philadelphia, and then KJ and Shelly, to see you guys at AmFest. Was it everything that I said it would be? It was awesome, right?
Yes,
yes.
it was. Yes, it was. So many patriots out there. The weather was beautiful.
Absolutely.
And it was just nice getting together with like-minded, let's just say, God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people. It was great. Yes,
absolutely.
Indeed.
I apologize for the backdrop, ladies. I'm like, now, I don't know if you guys saw the snow in North Florida 2 days ago. So we are not a state that is, this is not Maryland. So this causes multiple problems. Yeah, we're running on some generator
got snow. Wow.
Don't worry about it. We're all having technical problems today, but let's keep on going.
Yes, indeed. So I want to get you on. First, please just tell the audience a little bit about what you do at Support Our Shields. And then we want to get you involved with some of the questions we have regarding ICE.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let me start with why I started it. It was and why I think this moment is so important, because I've seen this now go full circle. So I started Support Our Shields as a response in 2021, really summer of 2020, when we saw basically our whole world turned upside down and the defund the police narrative explode. And I didn't have a name for it at the time, ladies. I literally just went to the police department in my local small town, had a plaque made and said, I care about you guys. Me and my wife pray for you. And to see that chief break down, in tears and because of what was going on. Now, we didn't have it as bad here. This is pretty much the heart of MAGA country, but, they knew what was happening to their brothers and sisters around the country. And he asked me one thing. He said, could you go to the next town? And that was over 100 towns and cities ago. And in 2021, the Lord gave me the name Support Our Shields. And so literally it's coming, especially when an officer is killed in the line of duty. Because what I was realizing, of course, my background being in media, and that's, you guys know where the Hollywood name comes from, I understand narratives. And how the left, they are the masters of narratives and false narratives. And so when you look at the data of what is happening, and again, as a black man, we're like the left's little token mascot that they always prance us out, to push whatever lie is the menu of the day. The numbers were totally the opposite. And then watching the early resignations and the early retirements, and I saw it as clear as day. I said, so many neighborhoods are going to turn into the hellhole that I grew up in. We do not understand, the consequences, the ripple effects of the waves of the bad decisions that are made today. And if you look at the Democratic Party, that's their whole history. So that is what caused me to get so active. And of course, when they come up with the traditional arguments, you guys know that we've all been placed in the class of the black faces of white supremacy because they can't defeat our arguments. Right. So then the name calling happens. But fast forward 4 years, and it's been over 80,000 miles now and over 75 officers honored in 33 states. But as I shared with Shelly earlier today, Maryland has not been one, so that will be the case in 2026.
Wow.
I will be there with you guys in person.
Yes, indeed. So my question for you is, have you seen the, because we talk about this all the time here on Pop and Politics, but have you being out there talking to police officers, talking to people in law enforcement, do you feel like the treatment and the perspective or the idea of law enforcement, has it gotten worse or has it gotten better?
It has gotten, of course, it really hit an all-time low, KJ, in 2020, 2021, and the ambush numbers would support that. But we were seeing it trend the right way. And that's why this past year is so alarming. Because remember, guys, what we're seeing in Minneapolis, was literally what we were seeing in LA last year when the ICE operations first started. And I was sharing with anyone that would listen then, I said, this is going to go back to the whole defund the police movement, because it's the same money that's funding a lot of this. And so now you're starting to see, especially up north, the whole morale starting to go down. And as you ask, AJ, there's officers like that came in because we lost some of the best, and you couldn't blame them. They were like, why would I stay with this? I've put in 20 years, I've put in 25 years, and now someone can play a stupid game and win a stupid prize, but yet because of social justice, now they're looking at being prosecuted. That's something that's really happening all over the country. These rogue Soros-funded DAs and judges.
And that's absolutely.
Yes.
That's what I want to ask you about, Henry.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit of information or a little bit of insight on how these groups are funded? I know that there are at least two that I'm aware of: the Action Network, and I think the 1630 Fund. How do they funnel these monies down to these groups?
It's basically the same playbook that you see happening in Minneapolis. That's why they're responding the way they're responding. They set up several shell 501c3s, and you literally play whack-a-mole trying to find out who has sent the money to who and who funds this group. There was one of the slides that I sent that had the top 7 that the DOJ has figured out so far. And if you guys remember, let's go back to a little less than a year ago. Remember the Tesla riots and Maxine Waters bringing her cursed ass on stage and about, we need to find out what Elon Musk is doing. They didn't want USAID, they didn't want USAID touched because that was kind of the mother lode of where a lot of these NGOs, these 501c3s, and like I said, in 2020, I was introduced to it, ladies, because I saw it creeping into the churches. That was my background. I was traveling the country for the last 25 years doing production for churches. When you start seeing them quote BLM Marxist narratives in the Baptist church, I was like, Houston, we have a problem. We have a problem. But they were, Jamal Bryant ain't the only one. He's one of many.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Agreed. So I wanted to ask a question. So when I think of, the police that I like the best, right, are our sheriffs and our deputies.
Absolutely.
My favorite guys, because the sheriff is elected.
Bingo.
He answers to the people. And when I think of corporate police, there's nothing wrong with them, but they seems to have a bigger disconnect from the people. Yes. Have you noticed that sheriffs, when you think of like Shady Grady, or we think of our own here on the Eastern Shore, Mike Lewis, who's a tremendous sheriff. We had Sheriff Hottie out in Arizona.
Yes.
Mark Lamb, for people who don't call him Sheriff Hottie.
America's sheriff.
Sheriff Hottie with a body, right? When you think about how sheriff departments have really, really touched the lives of Americans, do you think it's possible for corporate police to start to model that behavior so we don't have this next generation of kids who think that police are not there to help them?
Excellent question, Nicole. You blew it out of the water because, it is a very big difference from your municipal police department and your county sheriff's office. And that is why I deal far more with county sheriff's office, because a lot of those police departments in the municipalities are a reflection of the mayor and the city council. You have some, but think about what you're seeing in Minneapolis. This is the perfect example. And Brooksville Park, all of those little woke cities around Minneapolis and St. Paul, you're seeing cowards. These are career men who aren't going to stand up for the truth because they are there to promote themselves. And remember, they're not accountable to the public. So the ones that were let go and ran out in 2020 and 2021, this is what you're getting them replaced with. And I don't know if you guys saw the clip, and it was the chief from Park yesterday. This was Monday, where he came out and he said that he had reports of off-duty officers being detained by ICE, but no video evidence. And the whole point, he had all, if you guys see the clip, you'll notice that he has these different police chiefs all from around Minnesota behind him. They're all towing the line. Because if we get to the root of the problem there, remember, they are a sanctuary city. So they're refusing to help ICE. This is why when you pointed out earlier, Nicole, about how when you guys showed them saying all the racial remarks to the black ICE agents, notice how close in proximity they are. It is a matter of time before we see it go very sideways, and you notice they're doing the whistles and the horns. That's intentional because they're trying to disrupt the agents being able to communicate with each other. Think about if you go to a Ravens game. This is all a part of how well trained they are and how well coordinated it is. And you will not see that, especially in a red state with county sheriffs. It is a completely different ball game because they are accountable in an election every 4 years. And that's how you get people like Grady Judd. He's too
you're right. I have one more thing, Hollywood. You mentioned coming to Maryland. Now, I do want people to know that on your site, you mentioned you have, I think, 70-something officers since 2021. You do have Officer Kiana Holly from Maryland, who was murdered in, I think, December 2021. And I noticed that you did not have, but you said you're going to come, Officer Amy Caprio, who was who was run over by a suspect in a stolen car, fleeing in a stolen car, and she did die also in December, I think, 2021. So again, so I want you to know, go to his site because those officers are there all across the country that they honor. Now, how do you, saying all that, how do you get your support? How are you making it to all these cities and places?
I'm glad you asked this. This is where my retirement has gone. I literally, when I tell you guys that this was something that I wanted really no part of it, the Lord was like on me since the beginning of the, ever since David Dorn was the officer who was basically assassinated on a Facebook Live in St. Louis, Missouri in 2020. And I did not want to go in this direction because I'm just gonna keep it real. I was making the most money I had ever made. All the churches were closed, especially churches where the congregation looked like us, so they were flying me all over the country to film sermons in empty sanctuaries. And of course, you guys know when it's happened to all of us, when you go off script and you dare speak out against the Plantation Network, you will be excommunicated quickly. So this has literally been out of my pocket and through the donations that I get online. And they're few and far in between. And so literally I sacrifice to go out and get to as many officers as I can. And what I can say is, of course, it's been a huge financial sacrifice. We were in the middle of remodeling my wife's dream home. You got a chance to meet her. You guys, did in December, and she's been an amazing support because she's put a lot of this on hold because her husband is going around the country, putting his arm around not only those, you meet their partners. The family is what makes it even more special. When you meet a father who, like in my case in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, who served for over 30 years and to have his 23-year-old son killed the week before Christmas. And for him to tell me, he was like, Hollywood, I didn't know who you was. I had never heard of you. I thought maybe you were one of these grief cult people that come around. And he said, but seeing you leave here and go around the country, he was like, I started back going to church when I went back. He asked for me specifically to come when they did the street naming in honor of his son. And he wanted to share that with me. That will give you energy to go, to the next state and the next state and Maryland. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Well, please share with our audience. Are there any a website or any links, any social media that you want people to connect with you on?
Yes, it is supportourshields.com and on social medias, Facebook, YouTube, X @supportourshields. And literally, I mean, I'm so dedicated to this, ladies. I am a part of a network app where I get an alert when an officer is killed in the line of duty. Unfortunately, we're at 6 already, and we're only in the 3rd week of the year. See, but you won't see this on the mainstream media.
No.
And this is why the rhetoric is so dangerous. Because last year we thought that was a good year, that we only lost 104 officers so far of the count, because it was 157 in 2024. Since 2020, there's been 1,908 officers killed in the line of duty in the United States of America.
Wow.
Let that sink in. And so you never see these protesters saying their name. The networks won't cut in. They won't get a statue. But that rhetoric that we're seeing, this whole defund ICE, like I call it defund the police 2.0, it has real life consequences. And when you travel and you put your arms around those families, you see the damage that is done, and you also see what's more concerning is the next generation thinking, why would I want to go through this? Why do I want to be demonized? Why do I want to lay my life on the line when the average age of an officer, they die 10 to 15 years earlier than a civilian? And he's like, if I avoid that, you can have someone ram at me with a car and I get charged for murder. So if we want to see what the country can turn like, if we want to see it look like a Purge movie, remove law enforcement. This will now the 4 of us that keep it locked and loaded, we're gonna be okay. A lot of people don't know what they're asking for.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
And you brought up a very good point, and one that really bothers me are the young people.
Yes.
The things that they are learning, and the rhetoric that is being pushed everywhere, not just in socially, but also in the education system. On the news media, they're being pushed to believe and demonize police officers.
Correct.
And so then we wonder why. Then you see these videos of them being pulled over, and instead of acting rationally, they have this irrational fear and just nastiness towards police officers, and then it just makes the situation all the more dangerous. Well, this next clip, and we want you to stay for this part here, is a little different. This is a Savannah. Savannah was in AmFest with us.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so she is doing a street interview of a young man. I believe she's at a college campus, asking if they support ICE. And this was actually a surprising reaction she received from this guy. Take a look here. This is clip 5.
What do you think about my sign? Do you support?
Love the sign. Okay, I do support ICE in this country for sure.
But you're brown. I thought ICE was racist toward brown people.
No, absolutely not. I grew up in a Christian household, so my parents taught me right. I completely support the police and what ICE is doing. If you're not from this country, you shouldn't be in this country unless you get the proper papers and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you have to say for the people who would not support these rapists and murderers being deported from America?
I mean, look at the facts. These people are coming over here, raping and killing American citizens. Just saw a story where some girl got killed and raped and thrown over a bridge by an illegal immigrant, and that just shouldn't be allowed. That could be easily avoided. Yeah, if like I said, we send these people back and they're not allowed to come in our country illegally.
Yeah, so I want to clarify, because I don't think I clarified this earlier. If you come into the country illegally and then you also rape and murder women, you don't get to come back even legally. That's my opinion on it. You lost your privileges, okay? Because women, Jocelyn was 12, you guys. For people, imagine if this was your sister, your niece. It's like, why is this so difficult? Oh, there was no problem when Obama did this. It's just like, I don't get it.
I saw a stat that Barack Obama actually deported more illegal immigrants than Trump did, and yet people are getting on Trump about it.
Right.
It just shows how much they dislike him, and honestly, common sense, people lack that in America.
Very, very true. Well, thank you so much. Keep it up. You're part of the Turning Point group?
I am going to be.
You got to join. They're awesome. I need you guys to save this campus, because every time I come here, it gets worse. So
yes,
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Love it.
What a nice young man. Wow. That gives me hope. That gives me hope. Yes. And for you guys who may not know, he was referring to the Dakara Thompson.
Yes.
Right. She was right here in Maryland.
Correct.
Who was murdered by an illegal. Now, before I get you all to chime in, now take a look at this next video, which is the protester. We talked about this yesterday. Nakima, whatever. Kima. This protester who is a reverend and Pastor Damon read her up one side down and down the other. But she is talking about how because she's demanding the pastor of the church that they invaded resign because he supports ICE. Take a look here, this next clip.
The last thing that I would say as we conclude is that I want to give a message to the parishioners at City's Church. Again, it appears from your conversations that you have with protesters that not all of you were aware that David Easterwood was serving as a pastor or is serving as a pastor and is also the director for the ICE field office located at the Whipple building in St. Paul. The last thing that I would say as we conclude is that I want to give a message to the parishioners at City's Church. Again, it appears from your conversations that you have with protesters that not all of you were aware that David Easterwood was serving as a pastor or is serving as a pastor and is also the director for the ICE field office located at the Whipple building in St. Paul. The last thing that I would say is
So she's calling for him to resign or to be fired. What are your thoughts on that, Hollywood?
This is why they are called orangutans.
Yeah.
Female imbeciles who can't manage their misery. Shout out April.
She looked like one too. She looked like a orangutan.
Correct.
Orangutan.
Right. So this is the play, ladies. They know the white liberal woman didn't get the outrage that they wanted. So bring in the dark skinned people. This is the play. This is exact. Notice what they did. They targeted that church. They brought Donna with them, to record the whole thing. And you're going to see this amp up week after week if we do not bring in the National Guard. Like Nicole said, if you keep giving them a step, they're going to take 10. These people are Marxists. They only understand power and force.
Wow. Absolutely. I would like to ask her if this pastor has to resign. I want every Black person who has a good government job to resign because they shouldn't be holding two offices either. Certainly not in the church and going to work for the government. These people are so phony. They are duplicitous and they're frauds. They're frauds. I bet she got her divinity license from ABC, whatever you want to call it, right? I would love to know if she pulls in a good government check every week or every 2 weeks. I want to know.
Yeah. Nicole, what are your thoughts? Oh,
do you know the crazy thing about it is that she runs Black Lives Matters for Minneapolis, and it should really burn her biscuits that, Black Lives Matter bought beautiful California homes and living this lush life. And she's ashy and dry, standing out in sub-zero weather, talking trash with a 1985 blazer on. Yeah, she's not living the life. She's not living the life. And they exude unhappiness. They exude depravity. So talking to the people of that church, the first thing out of your mouth should be an apology. And I don't care where you got your ordination from, whether it was ordination.com, wedopastors.com, wherever you got it from, you should start with an apology for desecrating God's house. And then turn the mic off and go sit your ass down somewhere and apply some lotion. That's what I need you to do. Lubriderm, just a little bit right in this area. It's going to help. It's going to make you much more palatable to the people that you're absolutely disrespecting and then telling them to fire their leader based on your principles. Now, I might agree with you that he got to go, because we talked about extensively yesterday the lack of manhood in that, the lack of strong Christian leadership in that church. But that's a different argument.
Yes.
Rather than we should let him go because he has a job.
Yes.
He has to have a job. You saw that church had like a handful of people in it, right?
Yeah.
There were more protesters than were actual people attending that particular church service. So yeah, he needs to have a job, and it's his choice. I don't know why these leftists think America stops where their opinion stops. This is ridiculous. He can do whatever the hell he wants to do. If he wants to dress up like Big Bird and cluck around town for cash, and as long as he's not hurting anyone, it's none of her damn business. Like, it's none of our business that she's a left-wing activist. Now, it's about to be our business, because I strongly suggest that the DOJ subpoena their bank records.
Yeah.
That's how we get to the root of the problem.
Correct.
Where to get the money from? Where are the checks coming from? Let's track it back to the source. And in between time, let's lock them up. Again, rules of engagement. I cannot believe that they were not trespassed from that property. I cannot believe that they did not leave in handcuffs. I cannot believe that. And people say, well, it's Minnesota and they're Minnesota nice. And this is why they have the problem they have. Because ICE is operating in every single state in this country.
Yes.
And where do you see this problem? Because it's not about immigration. It's not about ICE. It's about protecting this fraud, protecting the cash cow that they've got going on there. And at some point, people have got to focus in and say, you know what? Hoot and holler all you want to, but we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Continue to flood the zone, start putting handcuffs on people, and not just for pretend. Take them to the jail and make them bail themselves out. Make them hire an attorney and answer to the public. And I need those 6 million other Minnesotans to stand the hell up.
Right.
You let this little handful of Somalis run amok.
And you know what? And another thing we need to understand is she doesn't believe in police. This is why she doesn't believe in law enforcement. They don't believe in police. And this is why she has such a disdain for the pastor of that church. Yes. She doesn't believe his job is legitimate or should be a job at all. And so this is why she hates him. And these people, they're demonic. That's what they are. They're demonic. And we have to call them out. I literally saw my pastor here kick someone out of a church. Okay. So, they got the right ones, what the right church they went into. I will say that.
Yes. Well, we have a few supers before we let you go, Hollywood.
Okay.
We have a few supers here. We have Bernie. Thank you, Bernie, for your $10 super chat and for being a member of our Freedom Club. Bernie says he'll be getting his shirt soon too. That's right, everybody. Get your merchandise, take a picture, send it in, and we will shout you out. Southern Charm, go Dogs. Thank you for your $2 super chat. Preach, Nicole. Give me a flip flop and stand back.
I know that's right. Let's wear them out. Let's wear them out.
All right. I think we had Liberty Girl as well. Liberty has been a member for 3 months. I think her name popped up. Thank you, Liberty Girl. All of you in the chat, don't forget, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We want to get these likes up. Get them up before you go. And Hollywood, go ahead and say what you were going to say about your site again.
Yes, it is supportourshields.com and at support our shields on social media. And I wanted to say that what you guys are doing, what you ladies are doing is so amazing. And think about the contrast of what you do here through this amazing channel than these idiots that we're seeing in these blue hellholes. That is why we're trending in the direction that we're trending. We need more virtuous women of God that are willing to speak up and stand up for truth like you're doing. And we need less men that pee sitting down. I'm sorry, it's no other way around it. But my wife turned to me when that happened the other day and she said, could you imagine had they walked in our church where the pastor is a Marine and we got special ops all over the place? I was like, they know what you said. So they know where to go. They know who to bring it to. That wasn't random that they ended up at the church that they did. And that gentleman that Savannah ran into, he is a product of the work that we're doing. When we finally got to meet in person last year, that's why I gave y'all the huge hug. And that's why I'm smiling from ear to ear is, I mean, I've been a conservative since 99. I go back to when it was me and Jesse Lee Petersen.
Well, before you go, don't forget to let us know when you come to Maryland.
Absolutely.
So that we can, maybe we can meet you there and we can all honor those officers together.
Absolutely. Let's do it. I look forward to it, ladies.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hollywood. More folks, support our shields. All right. We got to do something this year before the end of 2026. We have to put together an event where we can all come together and just our supporters here, our Pop and Politic family, people that we've had on the show. We all got to get together and just vibe and have a social social event where we can come together and just share like minds, like values, because it's at least here in the blue states, it's rare that you have good people around you that share your values. So definitely something we can get in the works. In the meantime, though, you guys can find us on Discord. That's a great way to connect outside of YouTube. Check out our Discord platform, and so you can find us there. And the link is in the chat. All right. So moving right along here, folks, I want to talk about this millionaires tax. Can you believe it? So Washington Democrats said it would never happen. They promised no income tax. But now Bob Ferguson is backing a so-called millionaires tax. This is in the state of Washington. And I mean, let's be honest. This is how income taxes always start. Target the rich today, squeeze the middle class tomorrow. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 8.
Today, I'm also announcing my support for a millionaires tax on the wealthiest in Washington state. We are facing an affordability crisis. It is time to change our state's outdated, upside-down tax system to serve the needs of Washingtonians today. In recent years, the inequities of our state's current tax structure have been exacerbated by increasing income inequality, which is made even worse by President Trump's massive tax cuts for the wealthy, an unprecedented upward transfer of wealth that makes the rich even wealthier, while hardworking people are overburdened. I know, of course, the legislature will have their own ideas for how a millionaire's tax should serve our state. I will, however, remain committed to sending a significant portion of what is gained from a millionaire's tax back into the pockets of hardworking Washingtonians to help make life more affordable for them.
All right. So as you all see, he's selling this as fairness. Shelly, is this really fair?
KJ, that lie has been told and used for so many taxes to justify. Keep in mind that there is no tax, if you will, particularly on the wealthy, that does not trickle back down to the middle and lower classes, that puts them out of work, that keeps them out of jobs, that makes life that much more expensive for them. When the millionaires and the billionaires leave, so do the jobs, the homes, the communities as well. It trickles down. There's no tax that the left does not get Google-eyed over. Zero. Okay, we've had Milton Friedman, Walter Williams, Thomas Sowell, many others have told us this, and we have seen it. Okay, this is Washington State, but guess what? California is trying to do one up. They have a billionaires tax in the works, if you will. And guess what? California has seen a vacating of millions of people and dollars income for that state leave over the last 5 or more years. Maryland, guess what? Another tax, if you will. Maryland has been talking about raising the minimum wage to $25 an hour. $25 an hour. Now, Maryland is no California. It's the left on the East Coast. But how do you think that's going to trickle down? No company is going to be willing to pay unskilled laborers $25 an hour. And when I say unskilled, I'm not saying that to put people down. I'm saying that's the level of the job, if you will. What company can afford that long term? Even Amazon finds ways to cut costs. This is a scam. It is hurting, it's not hurting the billionaires and the millionaires so much, because they're going to pick up and go where their money and time and labor and all their efforts are respected. It's going to hurt the middle class and certainly the lower classes.
Yeah, but Nicole, he is pitching this as soaking the top 0.5% to fund things like family credits and business relief. So what's wrong with this? What's wrong with a tax the rich tax the rich thing?
Because rich is a subjective word, right? Rich doesn't have a dollar amount attached to it. And listen, people assume that millionaires didn't work for their money. Millionaires work hard as hell for their money. I have a friend, and we started out as friends as fairly poor people, and he is ridiculously wealthy now. But I can tell you, we work until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. We read voraciously. We debate things and talk about projects and dream big and all of that stuff together, and always have. Even when we didn't have any money, it was like, man, when I get my money, it's going to be like this, is like this. And he's living that dream. He's absolutely living the dream. So what does he do when Maryland says, you know what, we're going to raise your taxes? He says, okay, I will take myself and my very lucrative business and move to Virginia. Then Virginia says, you know what, we're going to raise your tax. Yeah, no problem. I got the McMansion down in South Carolina. This is what wealthy people do. They don't just have one home. They have several homes. And if this state treats me poorly, there's no reason for me to stay. And this is where rich gets really subjective, because when the millionaires are gone, who do you think they're going to come after? Because they're not talking about taxing people to quell a problem. He's talking about transferring wealth because he thinks it's unequal. Dare I say, if the people at the bottom worked as hard as the people at the top, we wouldn't have as many bottom people. We wouldn't need a $25 an hour minimum wage if people didn't stay in low jobs for their entire career path. You were never supposed to make $25 at McDonald's. It's a starter job. You learn to follow directions, to get along with other people, count a little money, be accountable, and then you apply for something else and move on to greener pastures. But what we have seen our public school system turn out repeatedly is apologists. Well, my boss doesn't like me, so I'm stuck in this job. Or I can't get a new job because it cuts into my video gaming time or my weed time or my partying time, and I'm in my young 20s and I'd rather run the street. Well, then you choose poorness. It really is a choice. You either choose to work and be industrious or to kind of work and have a good time. Those are your two choices. Everything in life is a choice. And this is what we're not teaching our children. So when they graduate, they really don't have a basis of knowledge for going into business right out of high school. And it's our fault, right? No, it's the freak teachers that they have that are dressing up like furries that are telling them that everybody deserves the same thing. Everybody does not deserve the same thing. To the victor goes the spoils. The people who work hard, they should get to keep their money. I don't believe in taxing the rich to help the poor, because the poor never get the money. You know who gets the money? The people who develop the programs to deliver the money to the poor. I'm going to keep little Mogadishu in Somalia.
And you're right. And folks, I knew everything you all were saying, but I did not understand or know the history behind this. The historical data shows they've tried this and it never worked. The Fed sold the 16th Amendment in 1913 as a class tax on the uber wealthy, with rates starting at 1% on incomes over $3,000. So today that's about $90,000. And topping 7% on millionaires. Only the top 1% paid a dime. By World War I, exemptions dropped, rates spiked to 77%, and it hit more folks. So then you fast forward to World War II, the 1942 victory tax jacked it up, introducing withholding so Uncle Sam could skim paychecks directly, turning a rich-only levy into a mass tax. So then by 1945, 90% of workers filed returns and 60% paid up, covering half the Fed's bills. So again, what started as a 2% earners became everyone's burden. This has been the story of old. This is what they do. They tell us, oh, we only going to tax the 1%, and then like you all said, it goes down to everybody.
Absolutely,
it's never a good idea.
The bigger the government, the smaller the citizen. And you can apply that to virtually any part of government, particularly when they have to do with regulating our finances. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Give me my money back. Give it back because it belongs to the American people. It's ours. And you notice it never goes down. Or any kind of President Trump, to his credit, when he even puts forth orders or bills, proposals to reduce the corporate income taxes and all the different types of appreciation taxes, even taxes on unrealized gains. What do we get? They get so much flack as if it's their money and we're saying give it to us. No, see, the premise starts off wrong. It belongs to the American people. Give us our money back, every penny of it.
That brings me to the shirt. Yeah. Let's go to the shirt production if we could get the shirt up. This is the moment. You know, everybody rocks out with Shelly and she says, give me back my money. Here's the shirt. This is the shirt you need. Listen, if you're fired up enough, get your shirt on and go and take you a picture down in front of the IRS building. Right? Go at lunchtime when they all sitting out there having lunch. Give me my money back. And Shelly is absolutely right. Our federal government has proven to be poor stewards of the money that we've given them. Incredibly, and they can't even argue that point. They can't even argue that point. They look you in the face and say, well, listen, we've lost a couple, maybe 20, 30 billion dollars, but give us more and we're going to do better this time. Foolishness, absolute foolishness. So get your shirt, wear it in protest and wear it proudly all around your community. And when people ask you where you got it, tell them where you got it from so they too can watch the show and learn something new.
All right. Folks, ladies, I want to ask you all something. I know this isn't on our agenda, but before we wrap up tonight, we were talking earlier before the show started, and about the interview, the debate, I should say, with Delano Squires and Chad O. Jackson. They were debating whether or not Martin Luther King Jr. was a general good or moral good for America, for Black people, the civil rights movement, all of it. They were pretty much debating it. And I definitely encourage you all to take a look at it. It was well done. Well done. I'm not super fan of Jason Whitlock's, but he mediated it and it was really good. We are fans of Chad O. Jackson and Delano Squires. And I'm not going to get too much involved in that sort of like the debate about Martin Luther King, at least at this point. We can do it at a later time. But what I want to ask you all, since we're talking about the government, is Chad O. Jackson had a very interesting take on that. And I went into the debate really on Delano's side. And I think I still am sort of, but the way he put that down, I was surprised. It's his contention that government should not be involved in anything within our lives. Okay. And he also, so much so, he said he felt like the 1964 Civil Rights Act, along with desegregation, all of it, they should not be involved at all. They should not have been involved. Not only that, but he also said he believes that companies have the right to discriminate, including DEI. So he said if a company, wants to incorporate DEI, it's their company, their business, they should be able to do that. And the market should then be the punisher or whatever, where people would just say, you know what, if they're going to do these types of practices, I don't want to, participate in that business. Also, if they're going to either use DEI or discriminate against whoever, Black, white, whoever, female, male, that's on them. They're not going to have quality people working there, is what he kind of, I hope I'm surmising it right, Shelly. What do you ladies think about that? Do you think that we should do you think it was a bad idea for government to get involved at all with discrimination, the Commerce Clause, the Civil Rights Act? Should have stayed out of it all, including today as conservatives fight against DEI. Should we leave it alone? What are your thoughts, Nicole, on that? I know I said a lot there.
Yeah, but he's a purist, right? And
right, yeah.
He has some very, very strong thoughts that I've heard in those particular circles over and over again. And Delano has a really strong argument for government intervening in situations. And I can tell you, sitting in a room with gentlemen like this, and then you could throw in Tori Snow and Giovanni Patterson, and you have these conversations with these men, and you think, man, we should be recording this and putting it out for the public so they can consume the brilliance that's coming here. He's definitely a purist, and to a large degree, I agree with him. There's never been government intervention that has worked well for the people. It has never. And it's mostly because when we think of the government, we don't think of the government as a collective of bureaucrats. That's what they are. They're a collective of bureaucrats, and they want to make it easy for themselves in anywhere they can skim off a couple of dollars for themselves or write in some regulation that holds the people to a certain account that makes it easier for themselves. They do. So it's not necessarily government by the people, for the people. It's government kind of with the people. Do you know what I mean? He's got a point. Anytime that the government tells you what you can like, when you can like it, and how much you can like it, we're being overgoverned. We're being overgoverned. And he's right. The free market will dictate what people will buy. You remember back in the day, people said Tommy Hilfiger's a racist, but like 99% of Black Americans walking around in Hilfiger clothes. Then suddenly that was gone, and people replaced it with something else, with FUBU or some other designer clothes that they liked. The free market will right the system. But I think to a large degree, the government thought they were assisting said free market. And again, there's nothing that the government touches that they do well. Not one thing. And this is government intervention's a bad thing sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely enlarges the government. And I think that was part of his argument as well. What are your thoughts there, Shelley? I mean, where would we be without these, the segregation? And again, we have conservatives. We talk about this all the time, fighting against DEI. The government is they're saying no. We should be, if a business wants to use DEI, they should be allowed. What are your thoughts?
So a few things. Number one, if you all don't know, I am more so what I call a small L libertarian. So Chad has didn't say anything that surprises me, or some things that I have even said. That's number one. I like both of those gentlemen. I like Jason, his little curmudgeonly self. But Delano's side, I'm going to summarize it. For me, what he was basically advocating for was that as Americans, we do have a right to hold the government to account for what it's supposed to do, and constitutionally. Chad, on the other side, basically says what I say almost every time we're on the show. It's too big. It's too big. And even conservatives who I have criticized my side, we think the government. When President Trump last year started dismantling DEI programs, I think we talked about it on here. And I may have mentioned private programs or private companies can keep DEI. It's the public, because they're using public monies. We can't tell private businesses what to do, or we really shouldn't have that play. But when government is in bed with businesses, particularly large businesses, almost no good comes out of it, not for the people. We have more laws, more regulations, more budgets, if you will. And who is paying those bills? Who's footing that cost? Not just financially, morally, socially, from a family and community perspective. Just imagine if we had less government, particularly in the areas where they shouldn't be, except for the law and order. The government's supposed to be there to protect, if you will, to protect the playing fields for the market to take place. not join in the market, control it, dictate it, take from the people to support it, and then make us eat this damn crap that we don't even want to support. So no, it's too big. It does not get smaller. It gets bigger and bigger to the point where the mindset of the people becomes, almost the first thing, the government should do this. The government should do this. Well, wait a minute. What about you? You are supposed to be doing this. Now, granted, I think the government plays a large negative role because it has so much power. It makes people live in fear, if you will, and people can't really think outside of that government box. When you hear people like Chad, me, I'll even say Marge Teray, other people, we're called rebels or radicals or whatever. Okay, fine. But it's too big. We have too many of our God-given rights that are now viewed as, if the government says it, even to the point where if the government brings charges, people automatically think, they must have done something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's too big. It's too big. It changes the mindset of individuals, of certainly of the community, if you will, and it starts changing the mindset of society to the point that, government must be in control. I can't do X, Y, and Z, and if I don't, I'm in trouble. Well, no American should have to live like that unless you are absolutely doing something, murder, fraud, that we can't even get prosecuted. This is why I keep saying fraud is the industry of government.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that does it for us tonight, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. Do we have any more super chats? I'm going to make sure we got everything.
Let's see. I think we. No, we don't. I don't think we have any more.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. We will be back on Friday night at 9 p.m. So right here, check us out. In the meantime, check out our other programs. You got me tomorrow night on at KJ Christian Conservative. We are talking about the latest in news and pop culture from a biblical perspective. So if you haven't done so already, head on over to at KJ Christian Conservative and subscribe. And then on Saturday, you can check out Just the Guys podcast. Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. They are bringing back shame and talking about how communism has infiltrated many areas of our lives. Just the Guys podcast on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. And so you guys know we got a big snowstorm coming in. So you can just sit back and watch Just the Guys podcast at 6:30 p.m. All right. So again, that's we will be back here, Poppin' Politics, on Friday at 9 p.m. All right. So thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.